How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back after long last episode number 8 of the San Jose Sharks franchise mode, headed into the 2024-25 regular season. Now, I believe since I really got back into videos like 2.5 years ago, the time between the last two uploads has been the longest that it's ever been. So I apologize for that. If you've been in the Discord server, you've seen why. It came down with a little bit of a fever over the last weekend, and I've recorded while sick before, a little bit of congestion, no problem, but it was just a lot of fatigue. It was a lot of 8 o'clock bedtimes, like trying to get like 10 plus hours of sleep. It was a big recovery week, and I'm feeling mostly better right now. Then, of course, even my Twitter account was suspended for the last 2 weeks because Elon Musk found out that I created it years and years ago before I turned 13, even though I only started using it like a year ago. So it was a really weird week. If you've been in the Discord server, you've been privy to all that information, but if you're just following along here on YouTube, you might be wondering, where are the uploads? They'll never disappear. I always want to be upfront with all of you. I'll never just get tired of making videos and just go radio silence. If there are no uploads coming, it's for a reason, and that was why. But I think we're getting back into it, heading into the holidays as well. Career simulation coming soon, and of course here back with franchise mode. So in the last one, in the 2024 offseason, we had a crazy first round draft. Ended up being that we had the 9th overall pick, we traded down to 6, but then traded back for the 9th overall pick. I kind of just counted as, we kept the 9th and traded a package of seconds and thirds for the 6th, as opposed to those two trades, because we couldn't have known what Detroit was thinking. But with those two selections, we went ahead and took at pick number 6, Mats Rodin, 79 overall, medium elite offensive defenseman. So looking forward to seeing what he'll be in our franchise moving forward. And we also took Aaron Kiviharju, who's going to be more of a project, but we'll see what he becomes down the road. 64 overall, medium elite two-way D, currently 64 overall. A real-life prospect who's going to be great in the NHL. And we also got a great selection with Larry Tongue at 27th, a 77 overall, medium top 6, two-way forward. So it was a great draft, and in the offseason itself, we're starting to think, okay, what's this team going to look like if our goal is to start saying we want to make the postseason? So, we still have some question marks about Jason Zucker, about Luke Cunnin, but we did go out in free agency. We signed Anthony Mantha to a 4-year contract, paying him $4.55 per season, and we also got a new starting goaltender in Ilya Samsonov, who signed a 5x5. I think those are two very reasonable and digestible contracts, so I'm happy to have them on board. We also had some growth. We see that Thomas Bordeleau is at an 81, Cody Glass at an 83, Vesalainen, Reedy, and Lucius at 81, 82, and 80 respectively. Defensively, that's where we're struggling a bit more. We did go out and trade for the rights to and then sign Evan Bouchard to a 3-year deal at $3.85 million per year. The Oilers are in huge cap trouble right now, so they were happy to part with Bouchard and try to get anything back, because they still have Yamamoto as an RFA as well, with very little salary cap space. We saw Ryan Merkley grow up to an 81 overall. And basically our biggest questions are, what are we going to do for the forwards, because Cunnin and Zucker are still out there, and what's going to happen for defense, because Mario Ferraro is still out there as well. Down in the AHL, I don't think anyone down here will make it to the NHL this season, but we do see Ozzy Weisblatt, Sami Tuomala, Owen Pickering, lots of players who are going to be trying to push their way into the big league soon. Danny DeKeyser this season, we love Danny. He's a staple here in the organization, but I don't think he'll make it to see any NHL playing time this season, unfortunately. So all that being said, I think it was a solid offseason. I think we're in a great position moving forward. Oscar Lindblom, 85 overall. We got him signed to a 3x4. I'm very content with this team, but there's just too much talent, too much of a logjam. We have to clear up some space, and that's where the assistant general managers came into play. So diving into the comments here, of course, the biggest question being, what do we do with the lineup? Not just where do people play, but also maybe should we be trading some of the excess away? So Cheating Heel leaves a comment, a big one, with lots of thoughts on the offseason. I appreciate these thoughts. Very good to get, a little pat on the back sometimes. I'm glad to hear that the assistant GMs are approving of the offseason moves. But towards the bottom, Cheating Heel says, for this year, we might want to keep the kids in the AHL instead of having them play on the fourth line or as scratches. At the deadline, if we're still not contending, I say then it would be time to trade Zucker, Couture, Ferraro, etc. so we can try and get some of the kids on the team and free cap space to re-sign William Eklund and others. We're in a good position, so there's no rush to trade them right now, and we can let the kids develop a bit further. Next year would then be the year we flip this team upside down and give it to the kids, and hopefully Vlasic also retires during the offseason. Great job, GM Data. Go Sharks. Thank you, Cheating Heel. So that's one school of thought saying, hey, you know, these 81, 80 overall young guys, Chaz, Lucius, etc., let them play in the AHL. Give them another year. Don't feel forced to trade away players who are doing very well, like Jason Zucker and Luke Cunnin, just because of, you know, them trying to push their way in. But the flip side of that would be Ed, who says, the team is packed very tight right now. I would prefer to trade Zucker and Cunnin so the lineup would look like Hurdle, Couture, Drouin, Eklund, Bedard, Mantha, for example. That would be some of the, you know, some permutation of that in the top six. Lindblom, Glass, definitely on the third line. And then that leaves Vesalainen, Reedy, Bordelot, and Lucius, 4 players for 4 spots, 1 on the third line, 3 on the fourth line. But Lindblom also a bit too good for the third line, so we have to supplement that with power play and penalty kill. So there's a couple of different schools of thought. Mike appreciates the love on his last comment. Always lots of love for Mike. Another gem from the future Hall of Fame GM. Thank you very much, sir. I was absolutely shook at the draft at what you were able to pull off. The first 4 picks were absolutely filth. And of course, by the way, our 4th pick being that high elite goalie in the 2nd round. So it was a solid draft. I actually low-key like the Mantha signing and would rather keep him than trade him out. We signed him not knowing the logjam that was going to happen, and we said, hey, if we want to trade him and a 7th in exchange for another 7th, basically just dump him for free and reset the universe, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And of course, there was another comment that pointed out that I was saying I wanted a right-handed shot, and I got a right winger who has a left-handed shot, so that was my bad there on Anthony Mantha. But going back to the comment, however, we definitely have to address the logjam we have, which to me is a good problem to have. My suggestion is to trade Zucker, Vesalainen, and or Cunnin. I think Cunnin is good, but I think the other guys waiting behind him have potential to do more. I don't think he's going to go up from here. I'm torn on Ferraro. I'm okay either way, whether we keep him or trade him. I don't think trading away Mantha like it never happened is unprecedented, but I also like how he fits into the team. Either way, trust in the choices. Can't wait to see the final roster for this upcoming season. Go Sharks. Thank you for that, Mike. Closing it off with a comment from the Discord server coming from JP Catalano, who says, what an excellent situation we are in. I like that optimism. Surprising development of our younger players leads me to think that we should give them the chance to earn their spots. I would use the early part of the season, and you know what, a little comment from myself, even the preseason, to let the young Sharks hunt. Not necessarily move our veterans yet, but make sure we have replacements before we do. That is a very balanced approach. I like that very much. Not saying we won't trade these guys out, but let's have them earn their spots first. Back to the comment here. That said, I would hold off on signing the rookies, being Rodin and Tanguay at this point. Keep them under team control for another year and let them develop where they can have playing time over in Europe. Once we find out whether the young Sharks can hunt, I think we then look to move on from Couture, Zucker, Cunnin. And once we find out whether the young Sharks can hunt, I think then we look to move on from Couture, Zucker, and Cunnin. Mantha and Bouchard trades might be a bit too cheese at this point. In terms of weaponizing salary cap space, I'd look to bring in a veteran to teach the young players how to be professional, preferably on a 2 to 3 year deal. Names that popped out to me were Patrice Bergeron, Lindgren, O'Reilly. I would not be afraid to bring in another piece, especially if we can move several out. I think that's the key. If we can move several out, like let's say we're moving out 3 veterans, bringing one in would be great, who's on a cheaper deal, or, you know, really it depends if we're weaponizing salary cap space. That's a problem to figure out later on. As always, very well done, and thank you for all your efforts to entertain us with franchise mode. Let's go Sharks. Thank you very much for that comment, JP. So with all those comments understood, I think we will be hanging on to Mantha and Bouchard. We're going to commit to keeping them. They will officially become part of the timeline here in this universe. But I sent out the scouts. I sent out a few contract offers for some players for the AHL as well. And we're going to let the preseason do a little bit of the talking. We love Zucker. We love Cunnin. These were guys who did, who had huge impacts on our series so far. So I'd love to keep them. But if they do get pushed out by great young performances, guys who are really carving out their time within the top 9 of this lineup, then we'll have to look at other options. But Samuel Montembeault signing on, he's going to be kind of like a third goalie for us if Makanyemi doesn't do well enough, but I really want to try to get him as our full-time backup this year, the goalie who came from the Hurricanes in the Brent Burns trade. We also get Scott Perunovich on board for the AHL and Reese Newkirk, one forward, one D, and for the AHL, and then our third goalie for the NHL. So starting things off here in the preseason, I think also this year we're going to try to get Connor Bedard playing more minutes as a centerman. I don't want him to develop as a winger. I want his faceoffs to develop. Last season didn't play much center time, still only has 72 faceoffs. Surprisingly, Thomas Hertl, who's listed as a center left wing, has 82 faceoffs, but Logan Couture, who's listed as a centerman, has 75 faceoffs. So I'm going to probably try Logan Couture on the wing this season, but that being said, I'm going to keep the usuals out of the lineup. We're going to rotate guys like Hertl or like Erik Karlsson and try to get some of these guys on the fourth line right now into the top 9 so they can get the opportunity to show what they have a little bit. So as I always do in the preseason, I'll show you the lineup, show you the box score, then get to the next game, and then by the end of the 7 games, we'll have a better idea of who should stick on this team. Alright, so for game number 1 of the preseason against the Anaheim Ducks, we're going to go with Lindblom, Bedard, Mantha on the top line, Lucius, Couture, Eklund on the second with a +5, Vesalainen, Glass, Cunnin on the third, Bogdalot, Reedy, and Zucker on the fourth. Defense, we're going to go Knizhov, Bouchard on the top pair, Kniazev, Merkley on the second, Ferraro, Vlasic on the third, and Ilya Samsonov will get his first start between the pipes with Samuel Montembeault backing him up. The first game of the preseason ends as a 5-3 victory for the Sharks. We had some good goal scorers in this one. We saw goals from Zucker, Reedy, Eklund, Glass, and Mantha. Reedy scoring an empty netter, but still looking half decent there in 11.5 minutes of ice time. Multi-point game there from Zucker, Bedard with 2 assists, Bogdalot with 2 assists. Very nice, although we did see negatives. -2 from Vesalainen, then -1s from Glass all the way down to Vlasic. Chaz Lucius with that +5, played over 14 minutes, had 2 shots, was a -1. All right. And goaltending, Samsonov made 23 saves on 26 shots. Game number 2 of the preseason now. We're going to try Jason Zucker on the top line, coming off of that 2-point performance. Let's see what he can do with a little bit more ice time. Bedard and Mantha alongside him on the first line. Vesalainen's going to play second line with Couture and Eklund. Third line, Lindblom, Glass, Lucius, and fourth line, Bogdalot, Reedy, and Cunnin. Defense will stay the same, and between the pipes, we're going to give the start to Samuel Montembeault, backed up by Makanyemi. Game 2 is another victory as we beat the Vegas Golden Knights 5-1. Great game here. And who else but Jason Zucker with another multi-point game. Same for Connor Bedard with 2 assists. Reedy getting another point. Chaz Lucius scoring. Cunnin scoring. And Anthony Mantha scoring. Love to see that. A lot of ice time for Ryan Merkley. He threw in an assist. A lot of players getting a point in this one. Even Evan Bouchard. Not too many players who didn't get anything. Knizhov even a +3 despite no points. No negatives, thankfully. And Samuel Montembeault, 26 saves on 27 shots. Game 3 of the preseason, we're going to go Zucker, Hertl, and Vesalainen on the top line. Hertl comes for his first game. Vesalainen, he has really good shooting, so I'm trying to get him going, but if he doesn't do it, he doesn't do it. I'm trying. Second line, this could be our actual second line, Eklund, Bedard, and Couture. Third line, again, it could be our third line, Lindblom, Glass, and Lucius. Fourth line, Bogdalot, Reedy, and Cunnin. But Chaz Lucius, I know he scored last game, but I'm going to need to see him continue doing something more if he's going to keep trying to audition for that third line right wing spot, because all these guys on the fourth line would love it as well. Defense, Karlsson draws back in. Merkley will play with Bouchard on the second pair, Ferraro and Kniazev on the third. And goaltending, we're going to give the start to Makanyemi. We come away with a 3-2 victory in this one, thanks to 2 goals from Cody Glass. Looking good. Lucius, 2 assists. That's what I wanted to see from him. He answered the call. Evan Bouchard, 2 assists. Love it. Logan Couture getting a goal. That new second line, maybe that's how it's going to be for the season. Very, very nice. We saw -1s, however, from Knizhov, Karlsson, and Vesalainen. No shots either from Vesalainen. Goaltending, Makanyemi made 24 saves on 26 shots. Game 4 of the preseason, Jonathan Drouin will draw into the lineup, playing with Hertl and Lucius on the top line. We're going to keep the second line together, Couture, Bedard, and Eklund. Third line will be Lindblom, Glass, and Bordelot. Fourth line, Cunnin, Reedy, and Vesalainen. Defense stays the same, and goaltending will be another start for Mäkiniemi. We were up 2-1 in this one after the first period, but imploded in the second and lost 6-2 against the Seattle Kraken. They got their first win of the preseason as we just fell apart. Goals from Hertl and Merkley. Assists from Couture, Eklund, Bordelot, Drouin. But we see and +1 from Bordelot as well. But -3 from Carlson, -2s for a lot of these top guys. Tough outing, and Mäkiniemi, he got pulled after letting in 4 goals on 14 shots. Montembeault allowed 2 on 16. Next game of the preseason, we're going to go Drouin, Hertl, and Bordelot on the top line. I've been liking Bordelot, so let's see what he can do with some more ice time. Second line stays the same. Third, Lindblom, Glass, Lucius. Fourth, Vesalainen, Reedy, Cunnin. Defense stays the same aside from Marc-Edouard Vlasic drawing into the lineup, our longest-serving player on the team, and Montembeault will get the start. A 4-3 shootout victory here against the Oilers. The winning goal in the shootout going to Thomas Hertl. Goals in this one went to Reedy with limited ice time, Drouin, and Lucius. 2 assists from Erik Karlsson, looking good. Negative players, we see Bedard, Eklund, and Kniazev. Goaltending, Montembeault made 24 saves on 27 shots through 65 minutes. Game number 6 of the preseason, we're going to go Drouin, Hertl, and Cunnin on the first line. Mantha back in the lineup with Bedard and Eklund on the second. Lindblom, Glass, Bordelot on the third. Lucius, Reedy, and Zucker on the fourth. Defense stays the same with Vlasic there, and it's going to be one last start for Mäkiniemi. I believe the final game will go to Samsonov to get him ready, so if Mäkiniemi wants a shot at the backup position, Montembeault's numbers have been better. I know he started one more game, so here it is, 3 each. Mäkiniemi has to impress. The team let Mäkiniemi down in this one as the Canucks shut us out 3-0. 3 goals on 35 shots against Mäkiniemi. A lot of ice time to her. Ooh, Bouchard might have been injured. That went into something. Zucker as well. Low ice time. That's pretty odd. -3 for Bedard and for Mantha. Yikes. Really weird game here out of nowhere. This is not what we've been seeing from this team. And goaltending, we see .914 save percentage for Mäkiniemi. It's enough to make me think a little bit more into the season. I wouldn't say that the backup role is locked up for Montembeault, but it's still leaning his way. Just that was a tough one there, and close to a half hour of ice time for Karlsson. So in this final preseason game, we're going to make the lineup how I think we'll probably look on opening night, and hopefully they can perform in the final tune-up. So final game of the preseason, let's see how it goes. Drouin, Hertl, Mantha on the top line. Eklund, Bedard, Couture on the second. Lindblom, Glass, and Lucius on the third. Zucker, Reedy, and Bordelot on the fourth. Defense will have Kniazev, Karlsson, Merkley, Bouchard, Ferraro, Kniazev, and between the pipes it'll be Samsonov, at the moment backed up by Montembeault. In our final tune-up, we fell apart in the third period. We were up 2-0, game tied at 2, and then it ends up being a 5-3 loss against the Flames. In this one, we saw no multi-point games, goals from Eklund, Bedard, and Lindblom. Very nice to see Lindblom in on it. +1 from Lucius, but -2s from a few players. Samsonov ended up making 27 saves on 32 shots. Neither of his games were amazing, but we already know that he's our starter. It was really, the preseason was more for Montembeault and for Mäkiniemi. We know that he'll get into his groove over time. So that's what we learned over the preseason. We saw some very interesting performances. 6 points in 7 games from Cody Glass, our third-line centerman. We signed him on a 1-year deal, reclamation project, fourth-line time. Ended up having a great year, and here he is now as an 83. Connor Bedard also 6 points in 7 games. He continues to grow. Zucker was point per game, 5-5. Chaz Lucius was impressive, 5 points in 7 games. Eklund also 5, but a -6. Logan Couture 5-6, Lindblom 4-7. He was getting ample ice time. Yeah, he has his special teams, second power play and first penalty kill. Mantha 3 points in 4 games. Reedy, fourth line centerman, I could see him sticking there. Evan Bouchard 3 points in 7 games. Ice time was weird a bit because he had a couple games where, at least one where he had like 1 minute. Bordelot 3 points in 7 games. I'd like to see all these guys stick. Drouin 2-4, Hertl 2-5, Cunnin 2-6. Merkley 2-7, Karlsson 2-5, -6, Vlasic nothing, understandable. Yeah, all these defensemen at the bottom here. Goaltending, no one really was crazy impressive. Montembeault did the best of all three. And I'd say currently, yeah, now that I look at the numbers altogether, I think he's definitely the easy favorite over Mäkiniemi. Mäkiniemi only faced 5 more shots, but allowed 3 more goals. Not world-breaking numbers, but it's enough to make you think. So Samsonov will start the year, obviously, as our starter, and Montembeault will be the backup, and Mäkiniemi will be our third goalie for the time being. And I think the lineup will pretty much look like this. I could see some changes happening, or maybe we put Bedard up on the first line, then Eklund could go up there, but no, we need more of a shooter because Bedard simulates more as a passer. The top 6, like this is the top 6. It'll get mixed around a little bit. It's the bottom 6 that I'm still thinking about. I'm still in the same position where Lindblom and Glass are the locks, and the rest is just we're trying to figure it out. Vesalainen is the guy that you didn't see because I already sent him down. He was not great in the preseason. I think he had 2 assists. But even in the games that he had the most ice time, he did the least amount of things. 2 assists, -2 over 5 games. Not horrible, but I would have expected a bit more from a player with such great shooting categories. So I'm not sure if we'll trade him or just put him first line AHL to try to bump up the rest of the team. But he'll be down there for now. Zucker will be supplemented with special teams time. We love him too much at the moment. And again, as other comments said, you can always consider trading out these guys and giving the team over to the youth should we go in that direction. Same for Bogdanov. I'd want to give him more ice time. It's still not a guarantee that these guys stick. We'll do a little 9-game trial. We'll see what happens. Can Chaz Lucius also do it during the regular season? How does Bogdanov do in a penalty killing kind of role? Because he's a two-way forward. He doesn't have the greatest defensive awareness, but good shot blocking and stick checking. But I'm going to fix up the special teams, allocate ice time as needed, and then we'll get this 2024-25 season started. Alright, so that took close to an eternity, but the lines are set through all the stickiness. I made it through the 4-on-4s and the 3-man PKs and all that. I think the ice time allocation is pretty fair as well, so we'll see how the team likes it. We start off our season at home against the Coyotes, who have already played 2 games. They're 0-1-1, and we open up our season against them at home at the Shark Tank. The lines, as we already said, they're going to be Luke Cunnin will start the season as our 13th forward. We'll figure out, once the players start to figure out who they are and the trajectory of the team, etc., then we'll finally know a bit more about who's playing, who's going. 7th D will be Mark-Edward Vlasic to start the year. Too hard to trade him, plus we don't really need to trade him right now. Good veteran presence. He'll stay as 7th D for the moment, and Mäkiniemi 3rd goalie. But without further ado, let's get this season started. It all starts here at home. Year number 3. First season, we weren't trying to make the postseason, but we did. Second season, we weren't sure, and we did pretty badly. Year number 3 now, our goal is to at least compete for a playoff spot, and it starts here against the Coyotes. First period, 2-0 Sharks early. Connor Bedard, the reigning Calder Trophy winner, scores the first goal of his sophomore season to open up the year, and Thomas Hertl on the power play makes it 2-0. Second period now, 2-1. Clayton Keller gives Ilya Samsonov his first conceded goal as a Shark. Many first Sharks here at home. Mantha's first game and first home game as a Shark. Same for Samsonov. A lot of NHL debuts out here. Tyler Toffoli ties it up at 2. Power play Coyotes now late in the third, or at least halfway through. It's killed off by the Shark penalty killers. We're being outshot 28-19, but it's a tie game with 5 minutes to go in this one. The home opener, some drama in the final minute, and we're headed to overtime. Shots 31-22 for the Coyotes, but let's check out some overtime. Here at the SAP Center at San Jose, it's Hertl versus Cooley at the draw. Tied up there, and Keller picks it up one-on-one with Erik Karlsson. He gets through pretty easily. Chikrin rebound, big save from Samsonov, who slides across the crease. Now here's Hertl with Bedard and Karlsson. Hertl bringing it over the red line, trying to set something up in the Coyotes' territory. Over to Karlsson, has some space. Can't quite get through, rebound, scores! Connor Bedard, 2nd of the night and 2nd of the year. And it's a quick victory for the Sharks, who win it here to open up the season against the Coyotes. Big overtime winner, Connor Bedard, the future of this franchise, making the fans go crazy here in San Jose. Samsonov wins his debut, and things are going well in the Shark Tank. Things are going swimmingly in the Shark Tank. Unstoppable force, Thomas Hertl gets the puck to Karlsson. Karlsson puts it on net. I am not sure, is it Tristan Jarry thought he had it, but Connor Bedard on the doorstep to put it in, and that is a Sharks victory to open up the season. So a 2-goal game to open up the season, and the Sharks take it 3-2 in overtime. Despite us getting outshot, I believe it was like 24 to 33, 33 to 24. We come away with the victory. Let's get this season started. Let's do a little 9-game trial for some of these younger guys as well. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Game number 9 will be up against the Tampa Bay Lightning on the road. A little Eastern Conference swing there. Buffalo, Toronto, Tampa, and Montreal. Let's get this going here. A little simulation here in the calendar. Very different than the slow sim, so we'll see if we can get some luck here. At home against the Kings, we win 5-2. The Flyers beat us 4-1. Back-to-back here. Mantha, sore shoulder. Very ambiguous, but all right. Sore shoulder for Anthony Mantha. Whenever we have a top 6 injury, Lindblom will bump up. Do we just put him straight up, or do we try... Yeah, you know what? Let's try and keep the second line chemistry, and Lindblom will just go straight to the first line. Zucker will come to the third, and then Luke Cunnin will come on to the fourth. All right, there we go. Let's keep on simulating. It's only going to be for a couple games anyways. Little glitch here in the calendar. Let's get back to normal. There we go. All right, so 2 wins to start the year, then loss, shootout loss, regulation loss. Lovely. At home here against the Oilers, who are 4-3-0. We're 2-2-1. We beat them 4-2. All right, back to our winning ways. One more game without Mantha. It should be against the 2-4-1 Buffalo Sabres on the road to start the Eastern Conference swing. 4-1 win, and Mantha's back to full health. So Mantha's back in the lineup, but Luke Cunnin was great in those 2 games. In 2 games, he scored 2 goals and an assist, 3 points. So I want to get him back in the lineup. The players who has been struggling the most has been Thomas Bourdelot. In 7 games, no points. I understand the ice time is very low. I had the most trouble trying to get him ice time. But it's tough because if I send him down to the AHL, he's already 22. I want to get him to grow, but I'm not sure if this is the best way. Meanwhile, Lucius, 4 points in 7 games on that third-line role. I'm going to give Bourdelot a couple games with Glass and Lindblom. If it doesn't work out, still zeros, I think we'll send him down because Zucker's been doing well. He has 6 points in 7 games. It's crazy. It's hard for me to excuse giving him the ice time when other players like Cunnin have been showing that they're going to take the opportunity and run with it. So I'll give 2 more games to Bourdelot. First game here against the Maple Leafs, who are 5-1-2 on the road. The Maple Leafs, we beat them 6-3. And now here we are against the Lightning, who are 7-3-0. We're 5-2-1. This will be, I'm not sure if he got any points in those 6 goals there against the Leafs, but hopefully Bourdelot can do something here as we are in attendance. First period, Cody Glass, there's a third-line goal. Second period, 2-1, Foote and Cirelli scoring against Samsonov. We're down by 1 here in the third period. I want to see that top 6 get in there. Let's go. Power play San Jose, nothing coming from that one. I want to see some Anthony Mantha. I want to see some Jonathan Drouin, who was on pace to be our lead goal scorer before he got injured last season. But he had, I think, the end of the year with 25. Final minute here, still down by 1 and nothing. No magic after that first goal in the first period. Nothing in the second or third as we drop it 2-1. Drieger, 33 saves on 34 shots. Did Bourdelot get any points on those 7 goals between those last 2 games? Let's see what we got here from Bourdelot. 1 assist on those 7 goals. Still -1. Some more ice time, which is good. But I'm not sure what I was really expecting. I just wanted to see a bit more. I was hoping for something a bit more flashy. I understand I'm not expecting him to do crazy things, or maybe I am expecting too much from him. I don't know. But like at this moment, he's on pace to have like a single-point season. So I think at least, unless some big injury trouble comes our way, I think keeping Lucius on the third, who has 6 points in 9 games, and putting Cunnin on the fourth, at least until things change or if someone goes through a big cold streak or whatever. I'm not saying he won't come back this season, but I think for the time being, giving Bourdelot time on the first line AHL Vesalainen would probably be the best course of action. So I'm going to make some line changes, fix things up in the AHL, call somebody else up to be 13th forward in the NHL, and then we'll continue. Alright, so I think we'll continue with the AHL looking like this, and up in the NHL, our 13th forward will be Noah Gregor. Gregor has spent a little bit of time in the AHL recently. He's been a solid piece for us before, Last season, he played in 54 games. The year before that, he was a full-timer, 82 games. So far this year, he had 4 goals and 6 points in 7 games in the AHL. So, hey, you deserve a little bit of time. You're 79 overall. We're paying you $975,000. Get up here. But Thomas Bordelot, I hope that he'll do well in the AHL, and then we can revisit, reconsidering him coming to the NHL later on. But at the moment, I wouldn't want him festering away with 6 minutes of ice time per night when we know that he can be doing a lot more. 9 points in 9 games, 7 goals for Connor Bedard through those 9 games. Looking great so far. Let's get back to the calendar and get another chunk of simulation done. Not going anywhere in particular just yet. Let's just get another, I think, was that a good year for rookies? Foss for a 6th and a 7th. Don't need that right now. Let's just get some simulation done and see what we're looking like. 2-0 shutout victory against the Canadiens after that loss against the Lightning. Great stuff. Shootout loss 5-4 against the Ducks. A 3-1 win against the St. Louis Blues. We're 7-3-2, 4 points away from top spot in the Pacific. We then dropped to 5th after a 7-3 loss against the Flames. 3-1 loss against the Devils. Canadians, after shutting them out 2-0, we lose a week and a half later, 5-2. There's a nice little 3-game losing streak for you. Always humbles you a little bit. Chaz Lucius, bruised hand, will keep him out for, I think, like a week and a bit. So fix up the lineup here. All right, Noah Gregor will slot in, and Jason Zucker will play some third-line minutes. He's been great, of course, as always. Jonathan Drouin, though, only 1 goal so far in the year. The top line, it's been a lot of Connor Bedard in that top 6. 5-1 win against the Islanders, been a 6-4 loss against the Coyotes, 4-1 loss against the Jets. We're a 500 team after 18 games. 8-8-2 is the record. 11-5-2 are the Kings. Then we against the Avalanche, Golden Knights, Predators. Let's go see somewhere into the month of December. The Rangers are a good team. They're 12-4-3. Let's go see them at Madison Square Garden. Chaz Lucius, fully healed, will get him back in after we beat the Kings 5-3. As I mentioned, 5-3 win against the Kings, which was then followed up by a 7-3 loss against the Oilers, December 1st now. A lot of RFAs probably still out there in free agency. I'm not sure what happened there with the Avalanche. We'll go back in a second. 7-6 overtime loss against the Vegas Golden Knights. Imagine scoring 6 goals and still losing. Then we win by scoring 6 goals next game. Beautiful. 6-2 win against the Predators, then a 5-2 loss against the Capitals. Then we get shut out 1-0 against the Blues, 7-3 loss against the Red Wings. It was a 5-2 win against the Avalanche. We are 11-12-3 here against the 16-8-3 New York Rangers. I'm not ready to give up on this season just yet. I think we got to make some changes. We're around the 25-26 game point. We're going to take a moment after this one to see where we are. First period, Zibanejad opens it up. Second period, 2-1 after Bedard tied it. Keandre Miller makes it a 2-1 game. Down by 1 here in the third. It's been all Connor Bedard. Power play San Jose, killed off by the Rangers. We'll want to check how our special teams are doing and all that before we pause at the halfway point, which is coming soon. Power play Rangers, killed off by the Sharks. Can we just score 1 more goal, or is it only Connor Bedard who knows how to put the puck on net? Looks like it. Final minute, and there you go. Oh, Connor Bedard! Of course, we tied up, but who else but Connor Bedard? Shots 27-24 for the Sharks. Thankfully, thanks to the 2 goals from Connor Bedard, we'll at least get the extra point, and then Logan Couture, the captain, wins it in overtime. Okay, huge comeback victory. 3 stars in this one, Bedard getting the first star, of course. And we get another win to bring us back to 500 status. 12-12 and is it 1? 12-12-3 is our record through 27 games. So more than a quarter of the way through the season, getting close to the halfway point, we are second last in the Pacific. Not great. And look at this. We're scoring 3.26 goals for per game. One of the higher, of the 8 teams, it's 4th in the Pacific. But we're allowing 3.33, which is one of the worst, 3rd worst there. In the entire NHL, just looking at goals scored, again, we're one of the higher teams in the whole league when it comes to goals scored. We're 27th in the NHL, is that what I saw? Yeah, we're 27th in the league with our record. The Avalanche are doing horribly right now, 9-16-2, excuse me. Allowing 3.33 we are. Power plays at 15.6%, which is, I think, closer to the bottom than the top. And our penalty kill is at 87.5, which is actually among the top 10 in the league. So the penalty kill is good, but our scoring on the power play, our scoring 5-on-5 seems to be there, I guess. But power play wise hasn't been great. 4-5-1 in our last 10 as well. Through these 27 games, we see 29 points from Connor Bedard. Maybe making him first-line centerman is the move. He currently has still 72 faceoffs. Maybe Eklund moves up with him. He has 26 and 27. He's looking great. Carlson, 22 points. Thomas Hertl, 21 in 27 and a negative 11 as our first-line centerman. Logan Couture, 19 points. Jonathan Drouin, 19, also negative 11. The first line plus minus isn't great, and Mantha, 13 points in 25 games. I'd want to see a lot more from him. Jason Zucker, 17 and 27. The man's a miracle, so we're bumping him up in the lineup. Glass has 11, Lindblom 11, but he's more like, as long as the penalty kill is doing all right, which it is, we saw, that's what really matters. Lucius, 10 points in 24 games here in his rookie season. Bouchard, 8 with a negative 7. Reedy, 8, negative 2. Cunnin, 6 in 20. Ferraro, 5. Kniazev, 5. Knyzhov, 3, both negative 2. Merkley, 3 points and a negative 6. Now, this is odd. He plays over 20 and a half minutes of ice time per night. Last season, when he was being given 17.45 per night, he had 24 points and was a negative 12. Now give him 3 more minutes per night, and he's on pace to get probably like 10 points or something? Like, that's very odd. He had 24 last season. Is Bouchard taking his production away? I don't know what it is. Gregor, no points, negative 4 in 3 games. Goaltending, what's up over here? Samsonov, 9, 10, and 2. Yikes. 884 save percentage. 3.31 goals against average. And Montembeault, 3, 4, and 1 with the lone shutout on the year. 886 is his save percentage and 3.09 goals against average. So some changes to be made in the lineup here. Other bigger changes like personnel and trading or whatever else will come when I present those questions to the assistant GMs at the halfway point, so stay tuned for that. But for the moment, we'll try to make some lineup changes with the knowledge that we saw so far. Let's put Bedard on the top line. Let's bring Eklund with him as well. I wouldn't mind putting Drouin first line right wing, and the second line becomes Mantha, Hertl, and Logan Couture. Let's try that out. The third line could probably stay Lucius. Yeah, I could stay Lucius, Glass, Lindblom. I know, but Zucker, I need Zucker to come up, eh? Yeah, that's true. Maybe swapping him with Lindblom for now wouldn't be a bad thing. He still has power play and penalty kill, so I'm not scared about Lindblom losing some ice time, just for a little experiment here for the next, 14 games. I wouldn't mind that. Let's go Zucker, Glass, Lucius, gives it a +1. Lindblom, Reedy, Cunnin on the fourth. Defense, I don't know, the plus minuses weren't amazing, especially that second pair. Let's break up that second pair. Like maybe giving Merkley a little less of a workload would help him out. Ferraro, 5 points +1. Kniazev, same thing, but a -2. Let's go Ferraro, Bouchard, and then we'll go Kniazev, Merkley on the third. Maybe Kniazev comes out for Vlasic. And goaltending is still going to be Samsonov and Montembeault, but we still have Makanyemi as a third goalie if and need be. Down in the AHL, Bordelot, what's up with you? You doing anything? Let's see what his stats are so far. 4 points in 14 games. Yikes. 3 goals. And his ice time, he's getting 21 per night. Okay. Yeah, let's simulate and see what happens with the lines looking like this. Bedard increased ice time. He's been doing well in the second line, so he should be just as good, if not even better, as our first line centerman. Let's see how we do against the Penguins on the road. They are 14, 15, and 0, playing the team that we got Jason Zucker from back in the day. Let's see if we can go above 500. The Penguins are fighting to get 500. Let's see what happens here at PPG Paints Arena. First period, 1-1. Chaz Lucius opens it up with his 6th of the year, and Raquel comes back to tie it up. Power play Sharks early, and it's not a power play goal, but Ryan Merkley scores his first of the season. After getting bumped down to the third pair, he hears it, a little less of a load on his shoulders, can kind of do his thing, and it's 2-1 Sharks after 40 thanks to Ryan Merkley's first of the year. All right. Both our goals coming from younger players on the team. We're up by 1, 5 minutes into the third. Make it up by 2 as Cunnin on that fourth line with Lindblom on the fourth. There you go. Power play Sharks killed off by the Penguins. Jordan Eberle makes it a 1-goal game once again. We're up by 1 with about 5 minutes to go. Being outshot by the Penguins, but hanging on tight. Top 6, where you at? No need. All right, we hang on for the victory. Shots end 30-28 for the Penguins, but it's a 3-2 win here. Samsonov did well. 28 saves, 933 save percentage. Lucius, a goal and an assist for the first star. All right. 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points here in Lucius's rookie year so far. I like that. And Cody Glass, separated shoulder. There you go. Out until January 10th. Not a super long-term injury, but that one hurts. Okay, do we bring Reedy up, perhaps? Can't check it. If you press R3, it's always going to go to open franchise overview whenever you look at an injury. That's so odd. But I guess for the moment, let's go Reedy third line. And what's kind of in his face? I can't see even the face-offs. Gregor will just slot in for the moment here. I'll fix it later on, but Gregor will slot in for the moment. All right, let's back out. Then we got to stop the calendar. Actually, we weren't simulating, so that's all right. So Glass will be out until after the halfway point, I believe. But let's keep on simulating. We still have a little bit of a ways to go with our experimented lineup. Definitely hurts that Glass is out. He has a big role as our third centerman throughout the special teams and all that. 5-3 win against the Flyers on the road. Kniazev, sore knee. All right, that means Vlasic will draw in. Marc-Edouard Vlasic, welcome back. -3. I don't believe that. Come on. Incoming trade. Atkinson and a fourth for a third and a fourth. Basically a third for Atkinson. No, thank you. Come on, there we go. 4-3 shootout loss against the Bruins. The Kraken are 16-11-3. We play them at home, then we play them on the road. We beat them 4-3 at home. We play the Wild, then we face them on the road. Minnesota, we beat them 8-5. And the Kraken, we beat them 3-2 in the shootout. All right, here are a few wins we can string together. Kniazev is back, but how has Vlasic been doing over here? Yeah, of course, it's not -3, it's a 0. I don't know why it shows you that. Vlasic, 2 assists in 3 games? You know what? Let's keep him out there. Kniazev, 5 points, +1, 17 pound minutes. He hasn't been bad, but let's just give Vlasic a little bit more of an opportunity here before the halfway point, which is when decisions will start to be made. We've won 4 of our last 5. Another win there, 6-1 win against the Oilers. Let's keep it going. 3-2 win against the Blackhawks. Okay. 6-5 overtime win against the Winnipeg Jets. Let's keep this rolling. Eberle for a third, basically. Or no, Eberle and a fifth for a third and a fourth. Pittsburgh Penguins, speaking of them, we beat them 2-1 in overtime. Back-to-back OT victories. Coleman and a third for a third. So basically a fourth and Benning for Blake Coleman, who has 3 years left on his deal. We play the Dallas Stars. We beat them 4-1. And Cody Glass is back to full health. Wow, we've done very well with Cody Glass gone. Has it been Reedy? What's it been over here? Reedy has 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points, looking good. And Gregor, 4 points. All right. Okay, well, let's get the lineup back to normal. I don't think it'll be a huge change. I don't think the world's going to fall apart if Reedy's not our third-line centerman. Let's hope Glass can continue the kind of, he hasn't been amazing, but hopefully the team's success around him will help him to find it. We played 38, so 39, 40. Game number 41, halfway point will be against Vegas. Buffalo Sabres, they're 15, 19, and 5 by stat. Head coach can replace him down in the AHL. At home against the Sabres, we lose 5-1. Of course, the losing streak ends. The winning streak ends when Glass comes back in. Of course, Magic. Then a 5-1 win against the Kings. So it was a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game winning streak. That's huge. 8-0-1. 8-1-1, 9-1-1 in our last 11 games. Very good here at the halfway point. We're 23-13-4. Well, 1 game away from the halfway point. Let's try and get on pace for 48 wins if we can get to 24. That would be great here against the Vegas Golden Knights. First period, 1-0, Connor Bedard. Second period, 2-1. Cunnin makes it 2-0. Then Nicolas Roy makes it a 1-goal game on Montembeault. Being outshot by 1. Power play Vegas to start the period. It's an extended one. Very extended. We kill it off. Still up 2-1. Power play for us now. Killed off as well. Still a 1-goal game with halfway through the third period. And Connor Bedard's second of the night makes it a 3-1 game. We're up by 2. Vegas power play doesn't go anywhere. Final 3 minutes in this one. Up by 2 with a minute to go, and that'll be all she wrote. Kniazev adds the empty netter, probably his first of the year. And shots end 31-27 for Vegas, but Samuel Montembeault makes 30 saves to get second star honors. Bedard 2 goals and an assist, and Luke Cunnin with 1 goal for the third star. So at the halfway point, we are 24-13-4, on pace to go 48-26-8. So at the halfway point, we are third in the Pacific Division, but we are just 2 points behind first with 3 games in hand. So that's very, the top in the Pacific is attainable. in the entire NHL. We find ourselves in 5th from 27th to 5th over the last, what, like 14 games? What a run. Going, we said 10-1-1 in our last 12. Huge stuff. So very impressive to see that. We're scoring 3.51, allowing 3.05. Power play, still not great at 12.8%, one of the lowest in the league. I think it's gotten worse even. So we'll want to think about improving on the power play. Penalty kill has gotten better or around the same, 85.7. Still closer to the top than the bottom. We dropped a little bit comparatively, but we're still up among the better teams in the league on the penalty kill. What else can we see here? We're 14-7-3 at home, 10-6-1 on the road, and 9-1-0 in our last 10. One of the hottest teams in the NHL. Connor Bedard has 44-41, on pace for an 88-point season. On pace for 48 goals as well, and up to an 86 overall. I saw, yes, face-off still a 72, but an 86 overall. Amazing stuff from Connor Bedard. William Eklund, almost point per game, 39-41. Bedard and Eklund, the future here in San Jose. Get excited, Sharks fans. Erik Karlsson, 36 from the 34-year-old. Very good. Hurdle, 34. He's turning it around. Drouin, 30. He woke up. Very good. Those line changes seem to do miracles here. Couture, 29. Zucker, 26. Love it. Mantha, still not great. 22 points and a -7. On pace to be somewhere around 40 points. I would have wanted a bit more. Chaz Lucius here in his rookie season. 19 points and a +14. So far, so good. Very nice. Oscar Lindblom in more of a defensive role this season. Maybe I'll take him off the power play and just keep him on the penalty kill. I don't know. But 18 points in 41 games from him, on pace for a quiet, somewhere around a 40-point season. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Evan Bouchard, 17 points and a +2. I'm liking that. Reedy, 16 and a +5. Glass, 13 and 31. Luke Cunnin, 11 and 34. Ferraro, 10 and a +12. Knyzhov, 9 and a +5. Merkley, 4 goals, 9 points, -4, and 4 goals and 2 assists since we changed him to the third pair. So lovely stuff. Knyzhov, 5 points +1. Gregor, 4 points, -5. And Mark-Edward Vlasic, 4 assists and a -2 through 11 games. Ilya Samsonov, numbers are getting better, but Montembeault's also been great. Samsonov, 16, 10 and 3, 889 save percentage, 3.17 goals against. And Montembeault, 8, 5 and 1 with a shutout, 906 save percentage, 2.60 goals against. Montembeault looking good. Looking at the entire NHL, we see it's Kyle Connor leading the way with 52 points. Bedard not too far behind, 8 points back. And for rookie scorers, it's Raimo Levo, the first overall pick. But Lucius not too far behind in terms of positions, but I don't think he'll catch up to Levo or to Chow. Even Nazar, Frank Nazar, one of our created players, a real-life prospect, of course, over on the Chicago Blackhawks. So, all right, good to note. And goaltenders in the NHL, we see, of course, Kakinen. Of course, the goalie we trade away. Nothing more classic in all of EA than a goalie who can't do anything for you, but as soon as you trade him away, will become prime Dominic Hasek. Amazing. Amazing. Meanwhile, you see Anton Forsberg at an 83 overall with a 912 save percentage and 2.49 goals against average, doing better than Ottinger at an 86, Demko at an 87, Campbell at an 86. Yeah, very. And even Sorokin down there, sub 900 save percentage. Classic stuff. So some decisions to be made for the assistant general managers. I think one of the biggest questions will be, how can we fix the power play lines? I'll be looking for your suggestions for how you want the units to look. Our current units look like this. Unit number 1, Bedard, Eklund, Hurdle with Karlsson and Drouin at the point. Unit number 2, it is Couture, Lindblom, Mantha with Merkley and Bouchard at the point. I understand that second unit is definitely weaker, but I thought they would at least be scoring a little bit, but I'll wait to hear your thoughts. Players who aren't on the power play, who should be on the power play, or other changes that should be made. Looking at the trade blocks to end things off, if there are any players you want to target in trades, whether we're trading away value or trying to acquire value, I'd say we're on the trajectory here to try and say, yes, let's push for the postseason. By the way, Rodin up to an 80 overall, playing over in Europe. So skaters who are on the block looking around the NHL, sorting by overall, we see Kuzmenko, Kulikov, Shattenkirk in Anaheim, all on expiring deals, or just 2 of them were. Dickinson and Donskoy in Arizona. Lysell, Murray, 2 prospects on the block in Boston. Buffalo, Sprong, and a bunch of names down the line there. Calgary, Backlund, Olofsson, Gaudette, Coleman, all with multi-year deals. Pavelski, 1 year left for the former captain of the Sharks. 84 overall, 40 years of age, over on Carolina. 14 goals, 22 assists in 40 games so far this year. The Hurricanes, though, they're a winning team, so probably unlikely that it would make a ton of sense. Killorn, unless they just want to get value on an expiring deal. Bergeron, Kerfoot, Murphy, Bonino, names there in Chicago. Colorado, Bocage, Prokop, some other prospects. Columbus, some other prospects. Svozil, Sale. Dallas Stars, Dvorak, Sagan, Lindell, Comfer, Marchment, a lot of names. Ben, a lot of names in Dallas. They are very tight salary cap wise. Klingberg, Bertuzzi, Kopp, Fabry, Nyquist, a lot of names in Detroit as well. Edmonton, we see a few prospects like Nakamura. Florida, nobody. LA, Korczak, also Markstrom, this prospect. Minnesota, McGinn, Cizikas, Armia. The Canadians, Luke Shen. Predators, Lauzon. Devils, some prospects. Islanders, Victor Rask, Anton Strawman. Rangers, Korczak, Othman, Strudwick. Ottawa Senators, Boucher, and some other prospects. Flyers, Shen, Hartman, Mikheyev, Atkinson, a ton of names in Philly. Pittsburgh, same thing. Raquel, Rust, Eberle, Gavrikov, Petrie. A lot of teams that are selling. Seattle, Hakanpää, and Tanev. St. Louis, O'Reilly, 3 years left on his deal. Lightning, Hagel, who's an RFA. Nick Paul. Toronto Maple Leafs, Leo Carlson. Vancouver Canucks, some prospects. The Vegas prospects, Washington Borgstrom, and Winnipeg prospects, including Kuiper and Vidacek. Okay, so there are the trade blocks around the NHL. I believe there are still some good UFA free agents out there. Yeah, there are. If we wanted to sign a little one-year deal, there's still, pretty much, there were like Perron and some other players, but it's just Blake Wheeler left. Maybe a bit toxic around the locker room, but he's an 84 overall, only wanting $2.6 million. And we, consider that we could also take on some salary if need be to try and get some draft picks, because we have almost $8 million to play with, which is great. Yeah, that's about it. Just Wheeler, then other depth pieces. So consider all of that heading into the halfway point of the season. I don't think we'd offer any contract extensions at this point, but we do need to keep William Eklund in mind, who's going to be wanting, currently wants a 5-year deal, 5.5 per year. I could definitely do that because at 4, he's still an RFA, but it costs more. So that's what we got to consider here. Do we do 4 years at like 6.75? Or do we do 5 years at like a 5x5, but he'd be a UFA after the deal? Or do we go longer term where it's 8 years, like an 8x8? Yeah, so 8x8, 5x5, 4x6.75, and he stays as an RFA. Those are a few different things we got to keep in mind. So the power play units, the potential contract extensions, trades. Zucker wants a lot of money. This might be probably his last year here in San Jose, although we love him. Reedy, yeah, reasonable extension demand there. Merkley, same thing. Yep. We could trade Vesalainen, maybe Bordelot. I don't know. There's a lot of different things we could think about. So let me know all your thoughts down here in the YouTube comments or over on the Discord server, link in the description. Thank you for your patience between episodes here. There's been a lot of coughs in between takes, but I appreciate you waiting for the content and enjoying it when it is here. So if you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe so that you're made aware of all of our franchise mode content, as well as our first NHL 23 career simulation, which will be coming soon. You'll want to see that one. A very big player. I'll just leave it at that. A very interesting and exciting player that you want to see the career simulation of. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that. We're getting towards the end of 2022, so trying to meet all of our channel goals. We're close to 5.4 thousand subscribers, so it's been a great run here in 2022. Thank you again to everyone who takes the time to enjoy and leave their comments. And I'm looking forward to reading them because there's a lot to think about heading into the second half of 2024-25. After such a good streak of games, 10-1-1 in our last 12, I'm excited to see what this team can do in the second half of year number 3.